Hi guys, Bran here, and welcome to a tier list video. I know every content creator makes these all the time. It's kind of like the in-between chapter content that we get fairly often from everyone, but you know, can't beat them, join them. So this video today is going to be talking about not the strength of every single character, but their enjoyment. Do I like them or do I not like them? Am I down to play a game of so-and-so, or do I actively avoid playing a game of so-and-so? You want to see my takes about who I like and who I enjoy for what reasons? Here we are. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started because this video is going to be long. Obviously, let's just go ahead and get this right out of the way. Xenomorph is my main. That should be obvious by now. I am number 1 NA, number 5 worldwide. I made the Xenomorph guide. Like it should be obvious. This guy is the most fun for me. Tail attacking up and over objects, really gratifying. Making compilations of that now, which are very fun to make. Just because the shots are fun to go for, and then adding all the music and stuff, it's very fun too. Like this character is just a good time. And also, like I've said before, Alien is my favorite horror franchise. Aliens is like my second favorite movie of all time. So just the IP is cool. The character is fun to play. Yeah, it's almost like I can't say, like, I'm going to say more about the characters I don't like because, like, no duh, I love the Xenomorph. And next. So now we're going to be moving into A tier, which is my former mains, which I obviously have a lot of fun with, or else they would not have been my previous mains. My first main that I ever had was Myers, because Halloween, despite the fact that Alien in the Alien franchise is my favorite horror franchise, Halloween is my favorite horror movie. That's why I have that fun little tapestry back there that has the VHS cover on it, because Halloween is my favorite horror movie of all time. And obviously the main character of that, or the main antagonist of that, is Michael Myers, who is my original main. The original reason that I got into the game was because I was interested in playing Myers, because I hadn't had that experience in a game before. Myers is... he's the quintessential horror slasher. He is like the slasher that caused the slasher boom. Arguably you can throw Texas Chainsaw in there, but we'll get to that. But Myers is iconic and great. I ended up moving away from Myers because his gameplay is very like rudimentary. It's very simple, very simple gameplay. Thankfully they said they're going to be looking at his gameplay and improving him in the Reddit Ask Me Anything, so that's coming. But there is still something, you know, every once in a while, just, you know, staring people down and getting immersed into what it's like to be Myers. It can still be a fun and good time. After Myers, I moved on to Huntress, who, you know, I kind of went to as a result of feeling very mechanically limited on Myers, because it's as somebody who, like, you know, played fighting games and traveled around to compete with fighting games, having most of my gameplay boiled down to stare, M1, longer M1. it was too simple. It was like, despite the aesthetic and the fun of the character that I was playing, it just, like, I didn't feel like I was doing anything like cool and impressive. He really lacks like that, like, kind of like, I could put this clip on Twitter because this was neat kind of gameplay. So I was looking for someone who did that, and who I found a home in with that was Huntress, because hitting those shots to this day extremely difficult, because even if you're aiming perfectly fine, all somebody can do is just like wiggle back and forth and suddenly you miss your hatchet. So there's a very low skill floor for Huntress, but a very high skill ceiling to Huntress. And I like finding high skill ceilings to climb. It's one of my most fun aspects of playing any video game. So Huntress was my first with that. So I always have a soft spot for Huntress. And then after Huntress, I went to Billy, and it was Overheat Billy, not Overdrive Billy. If you played Overheat Billy, you were entitled to financial compensation because that was miserable. Had the high skill ceiling in the game, despite the fact that he was like low B, high C at the best. Not the drink, although high C is great. Billy is ridiculously fun. If you like climbing skills ceilings and like climbing that skill curve, it's so fun. It's so great. And Billy definitely exemplifies that gameplay. I obviously playing him during Overheat was a little bit more challenging, but I almost took that challenge more enjoyably, because I knew that I wasn't just playing a strong A tier character. Funny, now that he's like top 5. When I did something, it meant more because I knew the character wasn't that great. So it felt way more rewarding to play them correctly. Billy is still probably my second best killer, although I'm very rusty on them. Like, Billy's just a fun time, very wholesome killer as well. You know, everybody loves Billy, so yeah. So now we are out of all the characters that I have made. These are all the characters I have made all the time. So now we're getting into the rest of the killer roster. Trapper, it can be a good time. I feel like Trapper, it just like solely depends on if you're facing people in comms or not. Because if you're getting people even only partially together, getting a sneaky trap very, very fun feeling. Very, very good feeling. I think the only thing Trapper does well that keeps him out of being the worst character in the game is that he has tremendously good snowball if people fall for a trap at a bad place at a bad time, and then you can snowball off of that. And those snowballs are very, very, very fun. And also, I have Naughty Bear, so I'm not actually Trapper, I'm Naughty Bear, so I'm a big teddy bear while doing this, which is very hilarious. Wraith can be a good time. Wraith is good. It can be a good time for kind of like a different reason than the reasons I enjoy my mains and former mains. Wraith's just kind of like a turn your brain off and go whack people kind of character. Like, Wraith doesn't require any sort of thought. He doesn't have a very high skill ceiling. He has a very, very low skill floor. You can just kind of pick up and play with Wraith at any given point in time. And unless you're facing like really good survivors, you're going to get moderately good results. So it's just kind of like a, you know, just a cruise control character, which is fine. That's fine. Characters like that are allowed to exist. Nurse I don't enjoy, but it's not because of any like gameplay reason. If you don't know, if you don't come by my streams, which you absolutely should at twitch.tv/TheMrHeadache. I stream every day except Thursday and Sunday. Even on Sundays, I'm recording this stuff. So Nurse I don't enjoy because she makes me horrendously motion sick. It is something that I've tried to fight through, find solutions for, but she just makes me motion sick. I thought that maybe, hopefully, that the oncoming of the field of view slider that came into the game, that it would be nicer to play her, but she still makes me nauseous. Like, just something about the zoom, head straight down, wiggling back and forth, it just makes me motion sick. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I literally want to throw up after playing her, so I literally can't, unfortunately. Hag, I also don't really enjoy. Hag is, and kind of like every game has an anti-meta to it. Like, every versus game has an anti-meta to it. And Dead by Daylight's anti-meta is Hag. Instead of going actively after chases, unless you're using the shoe add-on, is to draw triangles and teleport to the triangles only in one area. You don't really chase, you just do a lot of hit and run until somebody messes up and you down them, and then you just snowball. Obviously, what I enjoy most in Dead by Daylight is the chase aspect. So a character that's built around the anti-meta, which is not chasing, obviously it's not for me. Not for me. Doctor, Doctor's like, Doctor is a fundamental M1 killer that focuses around a lot of good info and shocking people to prevent them from dropping pallets. The info, you kind of get diminishing love out of the info because as your macro sense gets better, as you play the game more, you don't need the static blast as much to find people because you kind of just naturally know where to go in Dead by Daylight during a match. And the shock is very like ping related. Like, you'll shock somebody and they'll very clearly get shocked and then drop the pallet anyway just because ping's bad, and that's frustrating. And also, Doctor's like counterplay involves a lot of like pre-dropping to prevent him from shocking you from getting to the pallet. So like, I don't like pre-dropping. Pre-dropping's really boring. So why would I play a character that encourages that gameplay more? Yeah, it's just a meh for me. Bubba, this is gonna probably hurt a lot of people, but I'm not a Bubba guy. I'm just not. I know a lot of people that are into Bubba that do really, really cool stuff on Bubba. It's not a Bubba guy. Oh, it doesn't really do it for me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just kind of thinking more in the past of like old Bubba where you touch a twig and then you'd bump and you'd be there for like 3 minutes. That's obviously an exaggeration, but like, I don't know. I never want to queue up as Bubba. Like, it just never, like, half the time I forget he's in the game. Like, it just never occurs to me. Like, it feels like I'm just worse Billy. I just feel like I'm playing bad Billy for no reason. And that includes Overheat Billy. I felt like even when Overheat Billy was the thing, I felt like I was just playing worse Billy. If I wanted to do the things I want to do on Bubba, I would just go play Billy. Good old Fredward. I actually don't mind playing Freddy. For kind of like the same reasons I talked about with playing maining Overheat Billy, it's like I feel a little bit more rewarded when I actually do something with Freddy because I know I am like bottom 3 character in the game. Like, I know when I pull something off as Freddy that I am doing something good because this character is not good, which is, it feels more rewarding. Also, the new add-on that he got, Z-Block, is essentially just the control station Killer Instinct from Xenomorph. So it feels kind of vaguely similar to my main character in that aspect as long as I'm running that on. So yeah. Pig is actually a former secondary of mine. There's not really a category for that. But when I mained Myers, Pig was the other character I played a lot because I just like stealth killers when I first started. Pig, I don't know. They're going to be either at the bottom of B or the top of C. I'm just going to put them at the top of C because, like, I, in theory, would enjoy playing Pig, but I feel like this character, even with their quality of life updates they got recently, like, good teams really dunk on Pig. They really dunk on this poor character. And I feel I feel powerless a lot playing this character, like often more than I do on like Myers, which is probably just because I played the character a little too much. But when I have good games with Pig, they feel really good. But my games where I play Pig and like the team's really good, I feel really, really bad. So it makes me actively want to not play her. Clown is top of a good time. Clown is probably my favorite M1 killer in the game. Clown's just fun. There's something about me put yellow bottle down here so I'm fast, and purple bottle here so you're slow, and kind of like the plotting that goes into that's like really rewarding. It feels really good. And most M1 killers are just, I walk you down and I M1 you, and maybe I have like a slight like, you know, slow down ability of some sort, or I'm a little sneaky. But like Clowns actually requires like solid thought and planning to get value out of your power, which is, you know, like I said, like climbing skill curves, and there's a skill curve to it that's really rewarding and it feels good. Spirit is probably like, out of like the meta characters in the game, probably my like least favorite. She just, I don't know. Audio in DBD is very, very buggy and inconsistent, so having a character that solely relies on tracking through audio is a choice, and it's not one that I particularly enjoy and like dealing with. I think her aesthetic's cool. I think her cosmetics are cool. I just, gameplay wise, I would rather, if I'm going to be playing like a top 3, top 5 character, I'd rather play anybody else. Well, obviously, I would play Nurse if I was not, she didn't make me motion sick. I actually think the idea of Nurse is very fun. But yeah, out of the top 5 characters, like top 3, top 5 characters, literally what the category says. Legion, I feel like I'm just gonna put on the top of meh, because like the only thing I feel like Legion has going for me is their aesthetic. Like they have good cosmetics. That's it. Like Legion is like the bare bones killer in Dead by Daylight. They punish a mistake that survivors often in my games don't really make, which is grouping up too much. In that case, I just feel like man with knife, which is not very fun. I don't know. Besides aesthetics, Legion is not very like, hey, that's it. You just look cool. that is the epitome of Legion. It's just like, I look cool and I can customize my character, and that's it. Plague, I don't really enjoy for almost similar reasons that I don't enjoy Hag, but like in sort of a different way. So let me explain. So Plague is a lot of macro play. And like I said, Chase is my favorite thing about Dead by Daylight, but Chase is micro play. That's macro play is like controlling gens, keeping people injured, doing all that stuff. And Plague really, really excels at that, which is great. It's just not my cup of tea. I would much rather focus on being good at Chase and killers that, you know, excel in Chase, because Chase is the fun part for me. I do enjoy macro play, but not a character that most of their eggs are in that basket of macro play, if that makes sense. Ghostface, it kind of feels like Legion, to be honest, where like I don't really enjoy the power of Ghostface. It just feels like better Myers, but also clunky at the same time. You're basically playing Ghostface mostly for the aesthetic of playing Ghostface, and not actually because the gameplay loop is fun. Once again, just like Legion, if you get really good teams, they just kind of like dump on you. There's not much you can do about it. So there's always that aspect as well. Demo's pretty. Yeah, Demo's pretty good time. That was pretty good. Go long arm Dennis. That's a meme from the Twitch channel. Demo is probably the most balanced character in the game, and obviously it's the demo puppy. It's the good boy from Stranger Things, so like can't go wrong there. You also get some pretty spicy shreds that look cool and feel cool, so there's that as well. Oni's also a good time. Oni's probably up here at the top of a good time. I had a little phase between Overheat Billy and Xenomorph coming out where I just kind of like didn't feel like playing Billy anymore and just started playing like most of the roster, and learning Oni was really, really fun. One of the most fun things during that era. Getting those quick flicks were super cool. Getting mastering the blood economy. Like there's a lot that goes into this character that if you get good with them, it's extremely rewarding. Deathslinger was actually a character that I tertiaried during all of my time maining all of the other characters. Like I would be Huntress, Billy, Slinger, and then it was like Slinger, Huntress, then it was Billy, Huntress, Slinger. Like Slinger has always been kind of my tertiary slot for characters. I guess not now, because I guess he'd be the fourth, because if I was like ranking characters that I would play actively, it would be like Xeno, Billy, Huntress, and then Slinger. But Zinger's a very, very fun time, a very, very good time. A lot of really cool like skill shots you can pull off, especially there's a lot of like holes in the environment that you can shoot your harpoon through and get people, and it's like, woo, cool clip. A lot of good stuff with Slinger that I think a lot of people kind of turned their backs on this character when he got his instant aim down sights removed. But honestly, that wasn't fair anyway. So the people who are still good at the character, enjoy the character for their core kit, still play him, and he's still a good time. Pyramid Head, I had a Pyramid Head phase. I had somebody a long time ago not know how to play Pyramid Head and wanted to know how, so I learned them. And learning them was really, really fun. Going for the flicks are super gratifying and exciting. Obviously, having a mini Mori is super cool and fun too. And also, Silent Hill, well, Resident Evil, spoilers, Resident Evil is my favorite video game franchise. Silent Hill is way up there, so being able to play as Pyramid is really exciting as well. Blight, like, while it's better than Spirit, I think Blight ends up in that zone of Dead by Daylight where I feel like I'm kind of like taking candy from a baby, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like I'm winning because my character is good and not because I'm performing well. Of course, there's a lot of great stuff you can do on Blight that are skillful and are rewarding, but a lot of the time I just feel like, oh, that's because I'm Blight and not because I'm actually playing correctly, you know? Like, I feel like the character's power is coming through so much in my results that they don't feel gratifying as a result. Twins is a hard one, because like, if Twins functioned well, I would love them, but they're such a buggy, clunky mess. I'm gonna put them in don't enjoy, but with that big asterisk. Twins, the problem with Twins is not their gameplay. I love being little man, big world, good old Victor with 150% speed. The slugging aspect and juggling everybody is super fun, but like, the character is just so clunky. It is rare that I have a game without a Twins bug than I do with one. That is totally fine. Like, even if the bug is minor, just like a little camera bug or something, like, stuff happens almost every single time I play this character. This character just doesn't work consistently well. They're buggy, they're broken. Even after their update, they still have a load of bugs. Victor's still dying while flying upstairs. Victor's like, I had a really, really funny one where I pounced someone and downed them, but I slid off of Pride Rock and I fell down, and then it insta switched me back to Charlotte. It was really weird. It was really weird. But like, stuff like that makes me not enjoy the character. Like, the character, if they just worked, would be really fun, but they just don't. Trickster, especially current Trickster just goes a meh. I feel like it's another one of those examples of like these three, like this little happy zone with like Ghostface, Legion, is that like you play them mostly for the aesthetic, because especially after their rework, they're mostly just, I follow you down and I main event. I follow you down and I main event. Like, it's like, you're not even the Trickster anymore. You're just like the running lawnmower. So a lot of like the finesse and pizzazz of the killer got taken away with their most recent update that reworked them. Obviously, elephant in the room, all that wonderful kill switch stuff is going to make you look at them kind of odd for a while. And there's another character like that on this list. But this is talking about the fun of the character tier list. And I think that, like, I like range killers in general, but you're playing them mostly for the aesthetic. Nemesis was another character. I talked about that era in between Billy and when Xenomorph came out, where I started just experimenting with a lot of killers, and Nemesis is one of those ones that I enjoy a lot. Obviously, like I said earlier, Resident Evil is my favorite video game franchise. My favorite game of all time is Resident Evil 1 make, and then my second favorite video game of all time is Resident Evil 4 make. Yeah, I like Resident Evil a lot. So Nemesis is obviously from that franchise. Power is very, very fun as well, and kind of has a little bit of overlap with Xenomorph with the like strafing and that sort of thing. Kind of prepared me for the character in a weird way. Yeah, Nemesis is a good time. Nemesis's main problem is just that like he has a time sink that can't be circumvented. So like you really have to be really efficient, because if you're inefficient even slightly, that time sink's gonna catch up on you. Pinhead, I don't know what happened. I just don't enjoy Pinhead very much. It's funny because I mod for Filian Reaper, who is like the best Pinhead in the community. So you'd think I would just like have an auxiliary Pinhead just by like watching them all the time, but I just don't really enjoy Pinhead that much. It just feels like, I feel like this is going to be a hot take, and I know this is going to, especially if Reaper watches this, they're going to disagree. I feel like, if for the same reason that I don't enjoy Blight, which is kind of funny that he's right there, is that like Blight, I feel like I'm winning half the time just because I'm like a top 3 character, and not because I'm like doing well. Pinhead, I feel like half the time I'm doing well, it's because I am taking advantage of people not in comms. Like Pinhead really pumps out really well, because if you don't have good people rotating, like people with good sense to rotate the box, the lament configuration, then you get a bunch of chain hunts. If the Pinhead's even like slightly, you know, moderately intelligent about, I should probably go after the person that has the box. Like it's a solo queue nightmare. This character is a solo queue nightmare. So I feel like a lot of the time, I'm just like, taking advantage of the people's lack of coordination, and not necessarily because I'm like doing a really good job. And I feel like that just kind of takes some of the wind out of my sails. Artist, she kind of goes up here too. Like, artist is fun, and I did have once again another phase where like a friend was like, I want to learn artist, and so I learned artist for a bit so I could teach them how to play artist. But like, I don't know, I think it feels like I do, like, this character's really good. This character's really strong, but like I feel like she has so many extra steps to do the same things other killers do. And I feel like while some people find that really rewarding and really cool, like I feel like I'm just, I don't know, I don't like, if I mained this character, I would love this character. But since I don't main this character, I don't have the time to be like consistently good at the things she does to get that enjoyment out of her. And so, you know, hopping on her every once in a while and being way out of practice, it's just not, like, you end up struggling a lot. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Is just like, she's a character that, like, if you fall out of practice with, is not going to be a good time. Also, she has that kind of like weird aspect where like she could set up the melee birds and force you into lose-lose situations, which do not feel gratifying. Sadako, she's like at the edge of these. I'm gonna put her at the bottom of good time, but that's like barely. I think the cool thing about Sadako that like makes me happy is that like Spirit has passive phasing, but she doesn't have any control over it. It just kind of passively helps her in chase. Get it? But Sadako can actually control her passive phasing, which I find very interesting. Obviously, you can use add-ons like Newspaper and the Watch to create even further funny shenanigans. I feel like despite being a very simple M1 killer, she's got a lot of like flavor to her. And now that she's finally like relatively fair, it's like, it feels a lot more rewarding to play her. Dredge, this is gonna make people upset. I don't enjoy Dredge. I don't. You are so map dependent. You are so map dependent that like you could end up on Midwich and just absolutely be slaying, just like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl, just like gliding through that match with the greatest of ease. Or you'll end up on like Rotten Fields and then you just like down your power. You're down like half your power. And I just like, I don't get how Dredge mates consistently do that and don't want to pull their hair out. Because when you get that Midwich, you feeling good. But when you get like a Family Residence, another great example, you're just like, I just don't have pressure in the middle of the map literally at all. That's cool. Like, I don't know how they put up with it. Like, I would pull my hair out. I would be so frustrated. Wesker, once again, like I said, Resident Evil, my favorite franchise. Wesker's debut was actually in my favorite game of all time, Resident Evil 1, although he doesn't have his weird virus powers yet. Very fun killer. A lot of very in-depth techs and skill you got to learn to be good at them. A lot of friends that I know main this character still to this day. Very great. If this was a tier list on to face, there's some weird desync with like his hitbox happening right now. It's not too great, but hopefully that's fixed. And this is that ages poorly, but like, the play ass, super fun, super great, super fun to watch too. You ever watch good Wesker mains like Allren, Scooty? Like, you watch them game, whew, excellent gamers. Knight is, out of all the characters that are like, I like them a bit more than that. Yeah, out of all the characters that are like, I'm going to force you into like this like sandwich gameplay, I feel like the Knight is the most fun because there's just a lot of like macro play with the character because of like picking what guards you send and that sort of thing. Obviously with the quality of life update coming through, it's even more fun because you can strategize even more which character you're placing because you don't have to wait. You can just select the one that's best for the situation. So there's a lot of strategizing that goes into playing Knight, and I think that a lot of what made Knight really frustrating was like the Overbrine Eruption meta and 3-genning, which, you know, both have been addressed. So now like Knight isn't as awful to face, so I feel better playing them because I'm not just taking advantage of a bad meta. Skull Merchant, this is gonna be funny. You would think don't enjoy, but it's actually just kind of meh. She kind of fits in that same zone of like Wraith, where it's just like you can just get on this character and cruise. You don't have to like know the in-depth things about the character to perform well as a fairly low skill floor. But once again, for a lot of like, yeah, you've noticed a theme here is that if I feel like I'm taking candy from a baby, I don't feel like playing the character very much, because I would like the things I do to and my success to be related directly to my input and not necessarily the character or something like that. And Xenomorph is definitely one of those characters where like I put drone down and now I get M1 or you get clawed. Like it's like it doesn't feel rewarding, because a lot of what my success is based off of feels very autopilot. But that being said, like with Wraith, you know, it's like sometimes you don't want to think, sometimes you just want to cruise, and that's fine. Perfect character for that. But other than that, no. Larry, I've actually come around on Larry a lot. I used to kind of not be interested in Larry too much, but Triple Strike, who is a lovely regular of my channel, uses the build redemption to always make me play Larry. I play Larry at least twice a week because of that, which is very funny. And but through that, this character is really fun. Like I said, I like climbing skill curves, and obviously they have one of the biggest ones in the game. Sometimes they can be frustrating. There are some really bad maps for them, like Larry on Larry's. Yeah. But yeah, when I got better at this character, they were super fun, and now that I play them fairly consistently, they're pretty great. But I also feel like they're kind of in that like they're kind of in that zone like where Artist is, where like if you get rusty with them, I feel like they're going to be really unfun to play. But I'm not rusty on them yet, so that's a future brand problem, not a me problem. Chumkey, I know like almost every Chumkey main in the community for some reason. It's very funny. Chumkey, yeah, that's a good place for him. Chunky is, especially now that they have manual scamper removed, I don't feel like I'm just winning chases for free, which is kind of boring with just the space bar and the pallet and M1. Character has a mix of stealth and a rush attack. If you still like the whole like hug tech thing that Blight used to have, he can do that, you know, obviously just once because he has the one slice of dice, but he can slide off objects and hit people. And getting some of those hits and flicks is like really, really satisfying. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Unknown. This is gonna upset people too. I don't really like Unknown. The problem, it's a me problem, right? This is objective tier list. I'm not saying they're not fun to play. They're very fun to play. Getting some of those shots is super rewarding, super great. But my disconnect is that like most of the characters' efficiency and strength comes in their teleports. And that's not why I want to play Unknown. I want to play Unknown to exclusively use the UVX as much as possible. Use it as like an anti-chase tool. That's not, it can do that, but you get more value out of like weakening people as much as possible, so you can place more little husks that you can teleport to and getting value out of those as much as possible. That's like where the real strength and the meat and potatoes of this character is. But I just want to focus only on the UVX, which is not. It's a me problem. It's a me problem. I'm misunderstanding the character's use, and I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm that kid that's trying to force the circle into the square block. Like, let me have fun, and it's like just go get the square block. But it's a me problem. It's a me thing. So don't worry. Vecna's pretty solid. I don't like them. Yeah, that's right about there. I don't like them. Vecna's pretty solid. It's a pretty good time. I like having to like juggle between which spell is good for what situation, kind of like Knight over here. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of situations where survivors get a hold of like the items, and they kind of hinder my power to a fair extent, which can be kind of annoying. But I thought they're just solid. Like they're like almost like the Met of the B tier. Like they're not in the Met tier, but like they're a Met of the B tier. Like if you tell me like somebody like build requested me to play Vecna, I'd be like, oh cool, I wouldn't be jazzed. I'd be like, neat. They're just very passive, like cool, awesome. Yeah, that is my character fun tier list. Obviously Xeno's at the top, spoilers, but there's probably some spicy ones that I don't enjoy that you probably disagree with, but hey, it's a subjective tier list. So yeah, who do you find fun that I do not? Who do you enjoy that I do? Let me know down in the comments below what you feel. Other than that, that's gonna be it for today's video, friends, but I do upload daily, so I will see you tomorrow. But if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.